Generation Z.
Generation Z.
Generation Z.
Gen Z. What is it?
Generation Z.
Generation Z.
Joining us by satellite from New York is generational expert David Stillman and his 17-year-old son Jonah, a member of Generation Z. Good morning, gentlemen.
Now what happens is a lot of you look at someone like Jonah and you're like, wait a minute, isn't he just a millennial? And I'm here to say no. And a lot of you might be telling me, oh my goodness, you mean I have to get to know a whole new generation? And the answer is yes.
Please welcome Jonah Stillman!
But we are not millennials. We are our own generation.
Gen Z, born 1995 to 2012. Like my dad said, the leading edge is already in their 20s, and yet for some reason, no one is paying attention to us.
So many people are just assuming that Gen Z are the millennials, and they're gonna treat Gen Z like the millennials, and I can assure you that will backfire big time.
For Gen Z, the real world and the virtual world just completely overlap. Whether we're loading groceries into the store at the supermarket or adding to cart on Amazon, it is all one and the same.
This generation communicates in symbols, oftentimes, where the rest of us use words. We cannot accuse this generation of being illiterate. They might type LOL, or they might type OMG, but that is still writing.
At a very early age, Gen Z was told that there are definitely winners and there are most certainly losers. So what that means is that Gen Z is the most competitive generation to come along since the baby boomers.
This is a generation that is willing to pay dues.
On average, how long is Gen Z's attention span? This is a very short 8 seconds. If we're refreshing our Twitter feeds at least hourly, no longer are quarterly updates gonna fly.
Gen Z hates open office concepts. 50% of them want their own office.
75% of Gen Z would be interested in having multiple roles within one place of employment.
35% of Gen Z would rather share socks than an office space. And we predict a lot of clashes between Gen Z and the millennials. Why? Millennials are the most collaborative generation. They think in a group, they work in a group, and now comes a generation that's a lot more independent. We're gonna see collisions big time if we're not ready for this independent generation. I know usually you go to a presentation and you're told to please turn off your phones and put them away, but we're gonna stick with the Gen Z trend here, and I'm gonna ask you to pull them out. Now, part of me was really happy that he made it to the meeting, but the other part of me just knew he was gonna give me a hard time for beating me to the meeting. So she walks us into this conference room, and I'm looking around, and I said, oh, where's Jonah? She says, oh, no, he's joining us via Skype. In my defense, never once did he say I had to go downtown. He just told me I had to be at the meeting, which I was. So take out your phones again, and we're gonna take another vote. If you think I was right, click A, and if you think my dad was right, click B. My dad is an absolute Apple freak. So when a new product comes out, of course, he's all about it. Apple Watch, one of his favorite. So he gets it, it comes out, he sets it all up, and a couple days later, I give him a call. So I'm sitting there, I'm ringing, and the phone answers, and he's, hello? And I'm singing on the other end like, whoa, what is happening? So he's like, can you hear me? I can hear you great, this is awesome. I'm like, yeah, Dad, they can hear you in Europe. Hey, hey, hey. And I'm not kidding you when I literally tell you that my dad used to tell me that if anyone gets a participation award, it's him. He got me there, and we're on time. You're gonna see more and more Gen Zers coming to work with a side hustle. Now, side hustles have been around for a long time. We used to call it moonlighting. But the last thing any of us would ever do is admit it. The leading edge right now is in their early 20s. We can get to know what makes them tick today. We can be proactive. It's gonna feel different, and immediately what I see too many people do is go to this place to figure out who's right, who's wrong, better or worse. It's just different, so learn what makes them unique.
We are Generation Z.